Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat and this is the place where we talk all about books and writing. And today I'm going to help you identify the one thing you need to do to further your writing career. Alright, so I have been reading this book by Gary Keller with Jay Papasan, apparently, and it is all about kind of like prioritizing and choosing the most important thing for you in your career, for you in your family, you know, how to live your life so that your priorities are respected in that way. And he uses the Pareto Principle, which if you don't know, it's otherwise called the 80-20 rule, which is where 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort, or roughly around that range. And that's a scientific thing, backed by data. Gary Keller was saying, and I've heard this from lots of other people, it's definitely not just him and not just in this book, but he was kind of making the point that you should be doing the hardest thing on your to-do list first thing in the morning. You may have heard of this as the Eat the Frog methodology, and there's some other ones as well, but essentially you start with the hardest, most important task, the one where all of your priorities should be. So as writers, what should be our number one priority? Actually, the title is a little bit clickbaity because it's going to change for everyone, but please don't stop watching because I think honestly that this could really help you identify which one is right for you. So I just spent about half an hour thinking through what it would be for me, and I actually hurt my wrist from handwriting. You guys know how obsessive I get over my fountain pens, and it definitely helps me get my thoughts down on paper. So if you want to pause and just kind of like write down what your thoughts are and what's most important to you now, then maybe if that's, you know, how you like to think, that's a good thing. Otherwise, just keep watching. But yeah, that's what I did for me. And there are a couple of things, obviously, as a writer that help you get better at your career. One is writing. Writing for the technical joy of it, writing a novel to sell it. Those are two very different things, by the way. Writing short stories to enter into competitions. But for me, the biggest kind of like hurdle in my writing career is that I cannot afford to stay home and write. I have to work a job, as I'm sure many of you guys do. You know, I get up and I go to work and I come home and I write. Imagine how much easier life would be if you could just wake up, run, come home, write for like 2 hours, 3 hours, instead of just squeezing in a time at the end of the day. So for me, that is the big challenge that I'm facing. Now for you, it might be that agents aren't replying to your queries, or that you're getting bad feedback, or that no one's reading your book that's out. Whatever it is, just identify that one problem, like the biggest problem. There'll probably be more than one. But identify your biggest problem. And then spend some time brainstorming. So for me, obviously the reason that I have to go to work is that I'm not making money from my writing career. And there are a couple of ways to do that. If you live in an English-speaking country, or in a country where you speak and write in that language, you can obviously work for a newspaper, or work for an agency, or work for an editor, and kind of build your skills up that way. That's not as easy for me because I live in the middle of nowhere in Sweden. And my Swedish language level is approximately that of an 8-year-old, so probably not going to be writing for newspapers anytime soon. You can definitely do that. You could also incorporate writing more into your work day. So if you work for a tech firm, maybe work on their marketing promos, or start writing the documentation for how to use their products, you know, that kind of thing. That might help you feel more happy and more satisfied by your job. Another way to make money from writing is obviously ghostwriting, and you don't have to come up with all of the plot yourself. You're given a plot, you're told to write this many words on it, you do the writing, right? It's fairly simple. It does mean that you won't get any credit for your work, but if credit isn't something that you're looking for in your career, ghostwriting is definitely a way to make money from writing. And not only that, you can also use ghostwriting as part of your agent letters to say, you know, I do have experience writing to deadlines, I have delivered projects on time, I obviously can't talk about what they are, but I've worked with this agency, say, or, you know, if you haven't signed an NDA, maybe you could say this author. You probably can't say that. So, that's 2 ways to make money from your writing. The third way is obviously to self-publish. That is a really difficult route, I personally think, because you need to have a solid grasp of marketing and of reach. But if it's something that you're interested in, it's definitely one way that you can move from working full-time to working part-time to being fully, you know, supported by your writing. Finally, before we move on to getting an agent and getting published, you also have the ability to enter short story competitions. Now this is something that I have done. However, they do cost money and time, and they usually, you know, there's probably quite a bit of politics going on in the background depending on how good of an award it is. So your chances of walking away with first prize may be pretty slim unless you are a great technical writer, but it's definitely a way of getting your name out there and possibly making some money to write full time. And then obviously there is getting an agent. Now this one is also kind of random, right? Like, it feels a lot like a lottery. But there are things you can do to increase your success. And so for me, what I kind of like highlighted as the one thing that I need to be doing every day is working on my query or querying. This is where I kind of like hesitate to do a lot. Like, I haven't, before this month began, I hadn't queried anyone since May because I got one rejection, and yeah, I am not good at dealing with rejection. It's definitely one of the not great parts of my personality, and it's definitely something that I need to work on. But the one thing that I discovered that I need to work on is getting over my fear of querying and actually sending off the letter. I was kind of just doing that whenever. Now I'm going to have a structured plan that, like, at least once a week before I leave the house first thing in the morning, I'm going to be working on my query letter every day, and then once a week I will actually send it. So, maybe your one thing is working on your writing and becoming a better technical writer, and in order to do that you'll be taking masterclasses online, or you'll be working with a writers group, which can also be online if you live in the middle of nowhere. Or maybe your main problem is that you don't have a book to sell yet, but you really want to you know, self-publish a book, in which case your one thing might be just finding the time to sit down and write. But whatever it is, make sure that it is a priority in your life. Don't just kind of think you need to do everything that I've just mentioned, because we do, but not all at the same time. We can't, we're humans, right? We need downtime and rest, and it's something that I'm trying to get a lot better at. So choose your one thing and just know that your day is complete once you've done it. And that's really hard to do because we also have housework and exercise and meditation maybe, and looking after the kids and the pets and the husband or wife. So it can be tricky, and I'm not saying this is the perfect answer for everything. I mean, Gary Keller is, but I'm not. What I am saying though is that faced with the bevy of ways that we can improve ourselves as writers and that we can improve our writing career, you know, there's also, like, on top of the things I've mentioned, there's also marketing your book, there's also appearing in panels, there's also networking. Whatever it is for you at this point in your writing career that will get you to the next step, find that one thing that you think is really, really hard, querying, or putting aside writing time or editing your work, whatever it is, find it and dedicate time to it first thing in the day. Wake up early if you have to, or just kind of like force yourself to do it before you go to work. I know, honestly, I know it's difficult and terrifying, but if you do it, I'm really hopeful for you that results will follow. For a more in-depth review of Gary Keller's The One Thing, I will be doing a non-fiction November wrap-up probably at the end of this month, in December. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like and the bell icon if you want notifications about me. But before you hit that bell icon, it's really good for my channel if you hit those three, the trifecta of the like button and the subscribe and the bell. But honestly, like, as a writer, I think you should be minimizing distractions and muting them where you can. And like, these things are designed to addict you and to drag you away from writing. So don't hit the bell icon unless it's, you know, unless my videos help you to write and motivate you to stay on the path, in which case, you know, if that's your choice, do it. But I'm not going to tell you to mindlessly hit the bell because I don't believe in notifications, so yeah. Hopefully my honesty at least won me a like if you're still here, and I will see you guys next week with some more writing and book related content, or just me talking to a camera about my insecurities for half an hour. Who knows? Check out this video if you want to see more from me, and